Hi guys, oh my gosh, I forgot what day it is. Friday, happy Friday, which I know I would usually be super stoked about, but every day kind of feels like a weekend right now, but with work. So I don't know how to feel. But anyways, I just wanted to hop on super quickly. I know a lot of you are moving on to independent projects, and I just wanted to share with you how to create a Google folder to keep your work for your project. Um, it's one of those things that I do a lot of, making folders in my Google Drive to kind of keep things organized. But then I've been talking to a few of you who have started independent projects, who that no one's ever showed you how to make a Google folder before. And what I want is for you to keep a Google folder of the work that you're doing on the project that you choose. I don't want you to hand in every step of the process. I want everything to get handed in all at once at the end. But I would still like to be able to give you some feedback along the way, and creating a Google folder with your work and sharing it with me so I can see it is a really good way to do that. Um, I'm not going to stalk your Google folder to see how much work you're doing and when. Remember, I want you guys to work at your own pace. Um, but I do want to make sure you're being productive. So, for example, if you were doing the novel study, if you finish the first section of your book, you've done your reading log, your summary, your vocab, etc., and then completed a section task, you can just send me a message and say, hey, Miss Chester, I completed section 1 of my novel. I'd like for you to take a look. And I can just pop into your Google Drive and see what you've done and give you some feedback. Again, it's just a really easy way for me to see what you're doing without having to create an assignment Dropbox for every little step on Stellantis, especially because you all have the option of 3 different assignments. So there's the blogging project, the inquiry project, and the independent novel study. And if I had to create an assignment Dropbox for every part of each of those assignments, our Stellantis page would just be ridiculous. So again, hopping on really quickly to show you how to create a Google folder to keep your work for your independent project. All right, so there we go. I am going to, instead of logging onto Stellantis, because we don't need to do that for today, I'm just going to go into my Google Drive. I have 2 Google Drives. One is my personal Google Drive, and then the other is the Google Drive that I keep for school. Important thing to note, if you're sharing a Google Drive with me or you want to create a Google Drive, it does need to be with a Gmail account. So if you're using Yahoo or iCloud, it's not going to work on Google. And then secondly, the best practice to get into is using your school account. So your first name, last name at sd69qualicum.ca. I do need to be able to access your stuff. So again, easiest way is to just use your school account to create this Google folder. So I am already logged on my school account. I'm going to go to my drive. And some of you are going to look at my drive and be like, oh my gosh, Miss Chester, that's intense. It's nowhere near as bad as it used to be before I started making folders. So you'll see on my Google Drive, instead of having like hundreds of documents that are just kind of around, I don't know if you guys have ever felt, but I always feel like I have a hard time, or I used to feel like I had a hard time sifting through all my docs. So your teacher might say, oh, I need you to hand in this assignment, and you've got to go through your entire Google Drive to try to find it. Creating a Google folder is a great way to avoid that. So again, organizing some of this stuff, I could do a better job. But I've got a few main folders here. So I've got my Bolinas 2020, BC First Peoples 12 curriculum, English 10, Pro D, and then teacher resources. But we're actually going to pop into Bolinas for right now. And this is where I keep all my stuff for you guys. So I've got a tab for each of the classes that I teach. If I ever need to have a TTOC, I have a folder for notes in there. My day book, report cards, all that kind of stuff. It all stays in my Bolinas folder, and then you can make folders within folders, which is really cool. So I'm going to go into continuation of learning because that's kind of where we're at right now. We're in our continuation of learning process at home. I'm going to go into EFP 10. And then these are the different learning opportunities that I have for you guys. The yellow ones, so you can actually color code your folders, are ones that we're working on right now, and these ones are ones to come. But I'm going to show you how to make a Google folder. So if you, and sometimes this doesn't work for me and I don't know why. I have an older Mac at home. Okay, so if you double click on your mouse, you should be able to bring up this menu here. So this is where you go to create a Google Doc, a Google Sheet, a slide, upload files, but we're actually going to go to this first option, which is create a new folder. I'm just going to call it example folder. You can call yours whatever you want. I would probably call it the title of the project that you're doing with your name. So I would say blogging project, Miss Chester. So now we have created, you can see it up here, and your folders will organize themselves alphabetically, which is really nice. And like I said, you can double click on that folder and then do a bunch of different stuff with it. You can change the name if you want. You can also, like I said, color code them. So I like to add colors when I'm done with a folder. So the colors that are in yellow right now are assignments that I've worked on and I've completed, and the other ones are still, I'm kind of working on them. But you could color code it red. So let's color code it red. And then once you're in your Google folder, you can create a Google Doc, you can upload sheets, your slides, you can do drawings. Like, there's tons of different options that you can do in your folder. And you can also create folders within folders. So I've created a folder within the folder. And for example, you might want to do that with your novel study. So novel study section 1, novel study section 2, section 3. Again, just to keep yourselves really organized. So if we go back to that original folder, this is kind of the next step, and it's how I'm going to be able to see your stuff. So double click on that folder again. And you can also move your folders around, which is really cool. But I am going to hit the share button because that's how you're going to share your stuff with me. So M Chester at SD69 Qualcomm.ca. So then you would be sharing this folder with me. You'll see my name pop up. And then you can give me access to it. You can kind of play around with how much access someone has to your Google folder by going to this little button here on the side. So if you hit the first one and that happens automatically, you're giving you're giving the person who you're sharing with permission to edit and organize and move things around in your folder. The most I'm going to do with your stuff, guys, is make comments on your stuff. But if you don't want me to do that, you can change it to view only. And so view only means that you will be the only person who can change and edit, and the person that you've shared it with can only view what's in the folder. They can't actually change it. So that would be really good if you were like sending in a final project, for example. I don't know. I usually use view only with you guys when I'm sharing when I'm sharing the independent projects, because I don't want you changing anything that I'm putting out there, right? So yeah, that's why I do view only. But for you guys, if you want me to make comments directly to your stuff, then I would highly recommend doing sharing it so that I can edit. And again, I won't change anything. I'll just make comments on what you're doing to give you some feedback. So yeah, pretty simple stuff. Creating a Google folder to house your work for independent projects. Some of you have already done this. Some of you have done it and shared it with me. Some of you have done it and not shared it with me. If you have created a Google folder for your independent project, please share it with me so that I can see it. And if not, I hope this video will help you figure out how you can. Take care, guys. I'll talk to you soon.